and welcome to another episode of the Take a Poll podcast with Andy Cummins and Declan and Carroll. Coming at you again for Christmas. This is part 2, and this is going to be our handicap show, and we also have a very special guest. But just before we get to that, Dec, how are you?
Yeah, I've been better, Andy. I only got in a few hours ago, but I made it out of scratcher anyway.
That's the main thing. Now we have declarations nearly true now for Stephen's Day, or for our English listeners, Boxing Day, and I believe maybe the 27th as well. So I'm very, very excited for the festive period. Obviously, people are looking forward to Christmas, but our Christmas starts straight after the big day, from the 26th onwards. And without further ado, Jack will bring in our special guest. This is a man who is 5th at the moment in the Irish Trainers Championship. In the 2023-2024 season, he already has 29 winners to date. Believe this is his best season since the 2008-2009 season. Looks on course to break all his personal records. A Cheltenham Festival winner with Native Jack in 2006 when he beat Spot the Difference in the cross-country handicap chase, and a man who's done a double at Punchestown in 2021 with Singing Banjo as well. Fantastic handler. Please help me welcome Phillip Rothwell to the show. Phillip, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks a million, lads. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Well, look, if you don't mind, Phillip, just want to talk a little bit about yourself. How many horses are in your yard at the moment, when you started out, and what the aim is?
Yeah, well, sure. I started out, I guess, 24 years ago now. So I'm 45. I got my license when I was 21. Got off to a flyer, had a lot of very, very, very good seasons. Built a yard, probably built it a little bit fast, and probably was a little bit immature to handle what was the level of growth and how fast the yard was growing at the time. But I've had marvellous years for the most part. We'd 1 or 2 years sort of when the downturn in the economy came along. It really affected us, and numbers dropped off for a year or 2 there. We were down to probably 15 or 20 horses. Built it back up to 50 now, which is kind of full to capacity. And it's marvellous. I've unbelievably good support. The owners that I have, a lot of them are with me 10, 15, 20 years. And look at it, the rewards are coming, and it's really, really good. Couldn't be happier.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. We did mention just at the top there, Phillip, about Native Jack in 2006, probably one of the horses that people would associate most with yourself. I think he came from Arthur Moore's, and he won the 2006 cross-country handicap chase with Davy Russell aboard. Just tell us a little bit about Native Jack and how much he meant to you at the time, and probably still does.
Sure, he was an amazing horse. I loved the cross-country races, and I'd always look for a horse with a profile that I thought would fit the bill. And Native Jack came up for sale. I think he was 12 years of age at the time. If he wasn't, he was 11. He was 11 turning 12, I think. It was Christmas time. And I spotted him. I discovered he was for sale. He was £20,000 at the time. I'll always remember it. I rang 4 owners. I asked all 4 would they chip in £5,000 a man, and they could back him to win in Cheltenham in March. Backed him from 66 to 1 to 4 to 1 favourite, and he bolted in, and my good God did we party. My daughter was born 2 days before it. I arrived back to bring my wife. My wife had actually came home from hospital with our first child, Cara. And I remember unpacking the suit out of the suitcase, and it was solid. It wouldn't move. Pink champagne, dried in, and an amazing week altogether. Went back with him the following year. He pulled up injured. Went back with him the year after. He was 14, if not 15. Hadn't ran for 365 days, and he finished second, beating the length. He was a great horse. And then I retired him. I always remember retiring him that year after Cheltenham. He came back really fresh and well, and I didn't have a young horse in the yard that could gallop like him. So I was definitely considering giving him another year, but I reckoned it was time.
What's your thoughts on the cross-country races at the moment, Phillip? With you've Gold Cup winners running in them now. Is it making it harder for the likes of your? Sorry.
I think it's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous. I think it's a great thing seeing the Gold Cup winners run in them. I've no problem with that. I just think the March festival race is crazy. I think as long as they keep it as a handicap, it'll be very competitive. It gives people a chance to create a horse to try win at the festival. It puts so many different angles into the race. It was some fun race. It meant that that I could go to you guys and said, let's lads put together a syndicate and try find a horse for a Cheltenham festival. We can throw 20 lads into a horse and potentially we can get an older horse back, freshen them up and go to be competitive. When they changed it into a conditions race in the last couple of years, I think they've wrecked it. I think the number of runners, sure, really and truly, you'll see the betting for it now each year. There'll be 2 fancied horses rated 170 and the rest are going to struggle. I think that's absolutely crazy. They're taking the competitiveness out of it. The November race there was a super race. They had a race over there the other day in Cheltenham, last weekend, cross country. Super race again, really competitive. It opened it up to everybody. Henry's horse, who'll probably be favourite there now in March, after his run the other day, was very competitive. It looked like he could be competitive in March again if it was a handicap. With the experience of the run from the last day, the handicapper might have even dropped him, the English handicapper, pound over there, because he's very good to the older horses. I didn't look at it, but I think they've turned a great competitive spectacle into a 2-runner farce, being honest.
Yeah, nearly like an Irish maiden hurdle or something. You know, it's you have 2 or 3, and then whenever you like it, the rest.
Yeah, that's a bit of a rant, but I think they've wrecked it.
Yeah, and it's horses. Like, I know you've obviously had Native Jack and in more recent times singing banjo. Horses like him, it would have been ideal for a cross country at Cheltenham. But just to bring up singing banjo again, obviously a phenomenal training performance to win 2 races at the Punchestown Festival with him, and I think it was 2021.
It was fantastic, but to be fair, Walsh's that owned that horse, they would have done most of the work with him. He'd only come over to me weeks before it, and their neighbours, actually, Karen Barry that rode him, his fiance works for me in the office here as well, doing my medical records and stuff at the weekends, and they're a great family, and they put in a huge amount of work into that, so they've get a lot of the plaudits for that. But they train him now themselves, but singing banjo was a marvelous little horse and loves the cross country. But we took him over there in November 2 years ago, I think it was, and ran him. Henry had a runner in it that day that kept us 9 pounds wrong, and I think we got beat a length in a handicap, and we could have been even more, maybe 12 pounds wrong, and we got beat a length in a handicap. But it just showed that we were still willing to run out of the handicap and be competitive. Our horse got put up. But bringing him back then in March, a horse that had been super little horse, the general public got behind, waste of time going back in March to take on a Gold Cup horse. Like, why would you do it? A 90 rated sort of chaser who really relished the cross country race and just took his chance away. So you'd kill him bringing him back. I had no interest in doing it anyway.
Does with the handicap, do you think it should be a separate handicap, or because you're running off your steeplechase handicap mark, does that give you an advantage or an opportunity to take advantage?
Well, it is a separate handicap mark, so you're assessed differently. So Banjo was rated 120 something, I think, at that time in the cross country races, but he was only rated 90 over fences.
Really?
So when you actually know the handicapping system, it's very fair to those horses. Give them a chance, and they get rated then as cross country horses as they go, especially in the UK, and they're very good to them that way. But because they have all that system in place, then why have the main race a conditions race to say? Just nothing. There's not one argument in my mind that points to it being a conditions race. I can't come up with any reason why it is, and I don't know why it was changed, and I really don't know why it's not been changed back.
They'll probably want to call it a grade 1 soon, because that's what the festival is all about now. What are they going to an old stagers
grade one. Like
Yeah.
sometimes people said to me, like, why would you bring a 15-year-old horse back like to something like that? Well, it was given a 15-year-old horse an honor, or 14-year-old horse, or whatever. It was given him an honor purpose. But
Yeah.
like, you know, Gold Cup horse, turn him into a race horse to riding horse if they want. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
If they don't, that's
Yeah.
That's
He
a
did
big-
take it quite well though, I thought, Manella, though, to be fair. Like, it's, you know, they don't all do. So
it's brilliant. It's lovely to see Manella Indo back. I love to have him for it. Be great to see him running it in March. I think he'll take some beating in it. Thought he was absolutely brilliant last week. But just leave it competitive for him. You know,
Yeah.
what's like the Gordon's horse that won it the year before was his second favourite for the Gold Cup the year previous. You know, it's just look, as I say, I love the race, love having runners at the festival, but just think all the races should be as competitive as we can make them, and they're just taking that out of the March race. That's all. And
Fully agree.
a lot of people, Gordon brought it in, and I think it was a great thing. A lot of people started using it even as a prep run for the English National, and to get horses sweetened up for the National, and to bring a rating up to get into a National and stuff. And even that now has gone out of it. You know, like that was a cool thing. That was making the race. I thought it was even giving it more esteem or more whatever. You know, I thought like it was being used even towards an English Grand National. I thought it was a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. The competitiveness, it is something that could be 100% brought back. No, thank you very much for that, Philip. If you don't mind, we can, if you're happy to, we can run through a couple of your potential runners or even declared runners at this stage now over the Christmas period. Yeah, so you had a 35 entries, but this was before Declaration 2016. 35 entries, obviously some double entered, triple entered, etc. Not uncommon for this time of year. I suppose we can start. We'll start it down Royal, I suppose, on the 26th, where I think we have Bolton Glass Hill and Prince Quattro. I believe, unless if I'm mistaken, just correct me, Philip. But how are those two at home at the minute?
Yeah, the two horses are great. Prince Quattro is a reserve; he's not getting in as of yet.
Right.
And Bolton Glass Hill is in. Both of them like a little bit of good ground. I wasn't going to declare any of the horses for Down Royal until I seen this morning the going had changed from soft to heavy to yielding, and yielding to soft in places, I think. Both those horses, and I've Glenmalure Lodge declared in a handicap chase up there as well. And all of those horses would appreciate sort of yielding or better. So they're declared, and we'll have a look at it on Christmas Day, whether they go up or not. If the ground turns soft, they'll stay in Wicklow.
I was hoping and expecting to see Bolton Glass Hill in a handicap chase. Have you one in mind for him after this run?
It wasn't so much. He's a horse that likes a bit of nice ground. I thought he was very competitive off his hurdle rating in his last two runs, and with the new rule that's there at the moment, thought it was very important to start him over fences, that if he did go back and win a handicap hurdle, that we had protected his chase rating going forward. So for his first ever run in the chase in Thurles, it was a really good one. But now he has that chase rating, he has his hurdle rating, and hopefully he can come back, win a handicap hurdle at some stage on a little bit of better going. I thought he was unlucky to come up against one in Killarney a little bit earlier in the year, and went up 2 or 3 pounds for that. But hopefully he can go and win another handicap hurdle, and if he does, his chase mark now is cemented at what it is.
And Philip, that's actually one thing you really should be commended for. You've taken that new rule of, I believe if a horse has a certain mark over hurdles, they can go straight into a handicap chase, and I've seen you use that now to great effect. I know just the other week, I think Prince of Air went quite well at Naas, and he's a horse I'm looking forward to seeing quite soon. I know he's no entries over Christmas, but just tell us a little bit about how useful that rule is. I know it's in England, but you know, you can have horses 130, 140 rock up in handicap chases, but in Ireland it stops the need of running in beginners chases and getting almost lapped for lack of better term. So just tell us a little bit about how that.
I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing for low grade horses. Probably don't want to see coming in for the higher grade ones.
No.
For the lower grade horses, it costs so much for owners to qualify them to be competitive in races, that at least now they don't have to go through that expense to be competitive in a handicap chase. So mine went straight into handicap chases. All of them ran well. They were placed. I'd imagine it'll take a run or two for experience over fences for them to catch up on the hardened chase handicappers. But if they go in and they're not competitive, they're going to get dropped a pound or two.
Yeah.
If they go in and they are competitive straight away, wonderful, and they should improve for their experience. So I think it's a great thing. I think we're very, very lucky in Ireland at the moment. The jumps calendar is getting better all the time. Races are opening up, that there's more opportunity for everybody all the time. And I think programs in Ireland and the Irish handicapper, Sandy Shaw, I know in the background, pushes ideas all the time. He wants to, from speaking to him, he'd like to see more races for those lower grade horses and more opportunity for them. And I think even recently I was speaking to them and they said like they were hoping to have maybe a 2-day festival of lower grade races with big prize money. Stuff like that's amazing. Like they're looking to cater for 80% of the horses in the country and not just the other 20%. Whereas in the UK at the moment, I think they're pushing for big prize money at the weekend and Cullen prize money and race meetings during the week. They're absolutely going to kill it. It'll be great for us because we'll go over from Ireland to see if we can rob some of their big prize money at the weekend, which is great. And there's some opportunity. It's wonderful. I plan on doing more of it. But I think for English racing is poor. And I think we're really nailing it here. I think the program here is getting really, really good, and we've a very good bunch of people working in the background promoting it. And as I say, Sandy Shaw and some of the people in HRI working together. I think they're really starting to do a good job, and we can see changes, and I think they're very positive.
What's the cost like sending a horse to Britain? Like, and would you be going with two, or would you just send one? You obviously have to make it worth your while.
Okay, so I was lucky the last day I sent a horse over to Aintree, so I shared with another horse going to Aintree. The expense in going over, it is expensive, but I don't go over for those $5,000 handicaps. Like, I've just no interest. If one unseated rider, I'd probably peg it into the Irish Sea on the way back. I'd lose my life. I just wouldn't. It's bad enough coming home from Wexford or Tramore, going across to the far side of England to come back. Fair play to the lads, but I've no interest in it anyway. And realistically, it's costing $2,000. It's $1,500 to send over a horse on his own, and probably $2,500 to send over two in a 2-box, really, with expenses, and then divide it up. So that's what it's costing. And so I look at prize money. So if there's a £30,000 handicap or £50,000 handicap, £100,000 handicap, or a conditions race over there, I'm on that lorry. Cheltenham November, love it. Aintree. So far this year, other than Cheltenham in November, I sent over a horse to Aintree to run in a Pertemps qualifier. He finished 4th. He's qualified for the Pertemps for Cheltenham. He picked up $1,500, $2,000, whatever he did. He paid, but he's also qualified for Pertemps. We don't have enough qualifiers for it in Ireland. See, there's a series, and they're too competitive. I see there's a series, like we've launched one now in Punchestown that's similar to a Pertemps. But there's more qualifiers in England than there is in Ireland. Nearly, they're getting looked after. I think for us going over, we're not. So did that, and my only other runner went to Aintree there a week ago for a $50,000 handicap. He finished 2nd. Ground ended up way too soft on the day for him, but he battled on well to finish 2nd, and he came home with £13,000. Happy days.
Wonderful. Who was that runner, Philip, at Aintree again?
So the horse that went to Aintree was Stars Off to qualify for the Pertemps, and the horse that went back to Aintree the last day was Prince Salter. He was 2nd in a £50,000 handicap, but as I say, the ground came up way too soft on the day. I'd say the winner was he had been 4th in big handicap in Cheltenham in November there, over 2 miles, stepped up to 2.5, and he looked well in. But he beat us, and maybe he'd beat us on better ground as well, but I'd love the shot at it. So.
Fantastic. Perfect. So you've covered your Down Royal runners there, Philip. Obviously, if we look at Limerick, we've obviously a flurry of entries. The most notable ones, obviously, Cristiano Meraldo, who caused a bit of a shock last day at Nice, 50-1 in the qualified riders race, and also a horse that we know very well on this podcast as well, Captain's Nephew, who was in at Leopardstown, but I think he was taken out in the 26th. Is the Jim Duggan a possibility for him, or would you be maybe lowering your sights a little bit, because obviously that would be a step up in class.
I think the Jim Duggan is nailed on for him. I think it's where I always wanted to go. I listened to your last podcast. I was never going to Leopardstown, lads, to that 2 mile 5 conditioned race. And thanks very much for taking my price in Clonmel, by the way. It's really good. Yeah, no, he's going to Limerick. Hopefully I'm right and you're wrong. He's no, I think he won over 2-2 in Clonmel. I think 2-3 in Limerick is definitely far enough for him. I wouldn't like to be going further. I would have no problem bringing him back and trip on soft ground. Just thought that Leopardstown Christmas, given the chase course is good to yielding, even talking about them watering it. 2 miles 1, going that gallop, lacking a bit of experience, just thought that it mightn't be the right thing to do for him. So definitely going to Limerick. 2-3 around Limerick, good around there in the beginners. Soft ground, easy finish down the hill. Loads of class. Novice coming in against older handicappers, unexposed. 45 grand.
It sounds like you don't really fancy him, Phillip.
I'd love to think that he'd have a chance for the prize. So go chase the money.
Awesome. And with the mare Cristiano Moraldo, will we see her, or is it
she's a reserve.
She's a reserve.
She's a first reserve, so it opens the thing up a little bit. It gives me options of whether we want to run her or not. She didn't surprise us in. It's an amazing thing, that whole betting markets and all those things at the moment. She wasn't a surprise in Naas. Her owners had a few quid on her on track on the day. Any of my friends that asked me, I all thought she'd be placed on the day, that she'd finish in the first 4. I think it'd be like, I wouldn't have been sure that she'd go and win or anything. But I had been very, very happy with her at home, and we all fancied her to run well. I can't understand why she stayed 50-1 on the day, and I think I had another horse in the same race, shortened in price on the day, and we preferred Cristiano Moraldo, and we thought she'd run very well.
Well, we were on the second, so thanks for that.
Okay, Phillip, and another one, Cato's Revenge. We see there, she's in the ladies handicap hurdle. Potential handicap Cato's debutant here, is it?
He's an interesting horse. He's very good bumper form, and he's had a few little issues in training, but he has very good bumper form. And thought his first run over hurdles in Thurles, like the form of that has worked out exceptionally well. He ran a lovely race. He didn't jump well the second day, and he ran a lovely race for Connor in Navan the last day. It looked like we had him back on song, and it was something we could build on. He jumped very well in Navan the last day. First time in a handicap, ladies handicap, a little bit messy, but he's definitely a horse that could pitch up in some of the good novice handicaps between now and Punchestown time. There's a race there in Fairy House as well, and there's exceptional prize money on offer for those type of horses. He fits into load of grades, so I'm hoping for a big run in Limerick, but I hope he can build on it, come home safe.
Yeah, no, it was a nice run behind it. I think it was Caldwell Potter the last day, at Naas. And then plenty more. I see there. Like it looks like you're going to be a busy man at Limerick over the next couple of days. Have you anything else you want to bring up? Natural Breeze, possibly another one. Yeah, no, there's a few of those, but I've 2 horses running in Leopardstown, Stevens today in the first handicap as well, the novice handicap, and it looks competitive. But there's the 2 of them should run well. I thought Sideria will improve for the better ground. I just think ground caught her out in Cork the last day, more so than what I'd expected her to. So I'm hoping for a big turnaround from her. And the other horse, Woodstream Lad, my first run with him, he absolutely bolted in Thurles, and I think he's improved at home since. I think he's a horse that's on the up, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was extremely competitive on Stevens' day again. Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Phil. Anything else over the Christmas period? I know you've plenty in there as well. I know if we fast forward to the 29th, Galan de Vazel, in the Adair Manor handicap chase. Obviously, pulled up last time out, but it is a race I think he won in the past with Savannah Star. Would he be a potential,
He'll
maybe back on better ground?
No, he'll definitely go there. He was third in it last year. I thought he was running a hell of a race in Cheltenham the last day. I really did. When I watched it back, he was getting a really good ride by a very good up-and-coming amateur. But going to the third last, he was on the outside, switched in behind a wall of horses. The horse is a brilliant jumper. It went down and landed on top of the fence. That's why he pulled up. But I thought going down to that fence, staying out wide, I thought he was coming. I thought he was going to run an absolute cracker. Around Leopardstown last year, he found it a little sharp, but look at, he finished third, I think, beating a length for second or two. The winner bolted in, but the winner was set on. Went up 40, 50.
Yeah.
40, 50 pounds after that. Do you know what I mean? So if you go back, if you take the winner out of it, he ran a cracker. He loved a bit of better ground up there, and hopefully he can be competitive in it. He's 4 or 5 pounds higher than what he was going there last year, but I'm just hoping he can be competitive again. And the fact that he pulled up the last day and the day before, I'd stick a line through those. Cheltenham the last day, as I say, sat on the third last fence, and the day before that, the ground in Fairy House, I never seen anything like it. I think there was 2 or 3 finishers in most of those chases, and he just didn't handle it.
Is he a bit of a monkey, Philip? Like I thought he's a horse I really, really liked, but I just thought he doesn't like winning. Or do you think he's just been bumping into ones?
Yeah, look at he's horses at that grade that runs so consistent. They get a pound or two for being second all the time. Their life gets harder. It doesn't get easier. He battled hard in a couple of them very good chases last year. Like when you look at the horses that were beating him last year, I ran him for 40 grand, same thing in a handicap in Navan last year. He was second. The horse of Charles Burns beat him. The horse of Charles Burns that beat him, I finished second to with 2 or 3 different ones last year. But like it's so competitive. It's so competitive. And I think he actually, I couldn't call him a monkey last year because he pulled out and he did that every day, you know. His first run back in the stole was very good. Look at he's won 2 handicap hurdles. He's been placed in all these chases. He's just a horse that he's nothing in hand, and he's running as well as he can every day. He's been great. He deserves to bloody go and win. Hopefully I can find the right race to make that happen.
Fantastic. And is there any other horses over the Christmas period, Philip, that you might want to give a little mention to, a horse that you think might go well?
There's
probably a lot
over the Christmas period. The horses are running very solid. What I would say is I don't get too hung up on having runners over Christmas. I'd love to have a winner New Year's Eve. I'd love to have a winner New Year's Day. I'd love to have a winner Tramore. I'd love to have a winner in Clonmel on the 11th. The horses going there. I'd have looked at races in Clonmel. I've looked at races in Cork on the 6th. I've looked at races in Gorn Tayesta's Day. I've looked at races the whole way to the end of January. So going to try pick the right races for the horses, and I'm not hung up on Christmas. So if I have runners in some of those races over Christmas, it's not the be all and end all for me. Yes, getting Captain's Nephew down to a good chase in Limerick, that means loads to me. Trying to put the horses in the right races, like that means loads to me. And boxing at my level, we 50 horses in training. The biggest thing we need to do is concentrate on having them in the right races on the right day, whether that be over the Christmas holidays, as I say, or in Clonmel on a Thursday in January. It doesn't bother me. Just I need to have them in the right races and try stay competitive and try stay training winners. That's what it's all about for me.
Well, and would you be able to give us a horse to follow for the summer, Philip, that we can look forward to? Might be a bit of a money spinner. I'm going to launch a new syndicate there in the next couple of weeks, and there's room for you both to become members. And I look after my owners very well with good information like that.
That's understandable.
Fair enough.
I'm only kidding. Try to I tried to look after the lads that own the horses as best I can, make sure that they know what I'm thinking and what I'm doing with them as best I can. And I'm pretty good at keeping my thoughts sort of to myself thereafter.
As you should.
I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky. I've unbelievable bunch of owners. Like, we had an owners night 2 nights ago up in Ballybeg beside us, and the fun is amazing, and the people are just fantastic, and the support I have is incredible. And we're a small crew. We have a small team of staff here are unbelievable, like, and they are so clued into what's going on here, and they love their fiver each way themselves. And they're really clued in to making the whole thing work. So we're just trying to stay competitive and as I say, stay to picking the right races. I don't have a flagship horse. I presume that's probably what I should have answered you with for the summer. I don't actually have a flagship horse. I don't have a 150 horse. I don't have a horse that I see progressing to it. But I could see us having runners in the Cheltenham Festival again this year. We might have a horse progress to be good enough. Can see us getting to Aintree again this year with a chance of winning a race. Can see us getting to the Punchestown Festival with 2 or 3 chances. And that's out of a yard of 50 horses, where our average spend is probably $5,000 a horse. So it's mighty, and really, really, really enjoying it. But it's great. I'd say out of 50 horses I've been training, yes, we've had 30 winners, but I'd be disappointed if 40 of the horses don't win, over an 18-month period. They're not going to win every season. And I wouldn't be surprised if next season, I'm hoping that we can stay building on the number of winners this season. I'm very hopeful that we can. But I don't think that next season can be quite as strong, because a lot of those horses have fulfilled a lot of their potential. And we have to start again and build another team. Yeah. And that's what happens with yards of our size. So, we just need to keep people behind me, keep working really hard at it, and keep building a new, fresh team all the time.
Yeah. Oh, well, look, I wouldn't bet against you, Philip, to rebuild that team, and some of those horses obviously continue to progress. Like, it goes without saying, even your comments there, you're looking for races New Year's Day, Tramore, Clonmel into January. It clearly shows, because the season you're having is absolutely phenomenal. As we said, 5th in the Trainers' Championship. It's like the trainers that are around you. It's fair to say you don't have the same ammo. You're not playing with the same weapons, but you are easily punching above your weight, and it is very commendable. And a massive congratulations to you and the team as well with the season you're having, and long may it last.
Thank you so much. Delighted with it. I think that the lads around me, just the numbers of horses that they have in training, that we can't really compete with that anyway. But I don't want to. I want to keep trying to develop the quality of horse that we have in the yard. And I just love to be able to say that we're doing as well as we possibly can. And I feel at the moment that we're doing as well as we possibly can. And that's certainly good enough for me. And I don't ever want to have the 250 boxes and fill them, because just can't have a personal relationship with owners at that level. I feel I couldn't anyway. I wouldn't have enough time for it, and can't give the horses the amount of attention that I want to give them. So really happy with where we're at. Really happy with the team. Really happy with the owners I have. Always room for new people and new horses. But we want to stay trying to develop a stronger string. That doesn't always mean spending more money. It's just keeping finding another one and keeping moving forward, and maybe culling the ones that aren't good enough, and moving on the ones that we feel would be better going to England, that have a better future or whatever. So we just don't want to keep driftwood, and want to keep trying to progress and bring in new blood, and keep trying to do the very best we can with what we have.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And look, we really appreciate your time, Phil. Don't want to keep you too much longer, obviously, with the busiest time that you do have. But we do very, very much appreciate having you here, and all the very, very best of luck over Christmas and going into next season. And I would have you at long odds on to break your personal record of winners in the National Hunt season. So hopefully that occurs as well. Yeah.
Thank you very
Perfect.
much, lads. I watch the podcast all the time. I admire what you're doing, and very best wishes as well.
Keep
Cheers.
spreading the word, Philip. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Philip. Happy
Cheers.
Christmas.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Bye-bye. Perfect. And thank you very, very much to Philip for joining us there. A fantastic season he's having, and as we said, long may it last. Into the previews now, Dec. So we have the Leopardstown and Limerick over the next 27, 28, 29th of December. Top 17 covering the 26th. So without further ado, Dec, we will start from the 27th, the 2 mile Paddy Power. Who put the wrappers back in the box? I hate people that do that. Handicap hurdle. There's nothing worse. This is competitive. I was hoping to maybe see Foxy Girl in here for Henry de Bromhead, but I don't have to lose money on her in this time, which does help. But still, nonetheless, it's your typical Christmas handicap deck. 14 going to post. We do have declarations here, which is brilliant. We do have them for a couple of races. The eye-catching entry is probably up the top there in Canto Bruno for Gavin Cromwell and Keith Donoghue. A horse that decent ground is pretty, you would say, is absolutely imperative too on his balance of form. But who do you fancy here?
Yeah, and Canto Bruno is one of them. I think he's the obvious one. It is quite a competitive race, and I'm not always mad keen to have a bet in these handicaps that are that competitive, but you do get sucked in over Christmas. He was beaten 21 lengths in the Royal Bond, but he beat Mel Monroe's 2 lengths at Cheltenham. It's his handicap debut. You know, he's obviously a horse with a lot of class, so dropping down from graded company, like you'd have to fancy him really. And I think Nusray could run a big race. It was a decent effort given plenty of weight the last day. Like he's a horse who's kind of quite exposed in conditions races, but he's quite experienced, and again, it's his handicap debut. You know, they can be hard to assess sometimes, those horses running in the conditions races. So he could be well handicapped as well. But you would have it between the two of them.
Very good. And do you have any word about By Your Side? Is a horse I know on our other podcast. You were following him off a cliff last year, and he kept seeming to take the last hurdle home with him. Ran a huge race though behind Common Practice at Fairyhouse. Jake Cohen keeping the ride. That's probably where I'd be looking. I just pray he actually jumps the last. Like he should surely still be progressing given his age. Very frustrating sort, but he's been consistent enough.
Yeah, he's a nice horse. He's a horse who's cost me a lot of money.
Yeah,
he did manage to win a maiden hurdle on a back.
Good.
Yeah, he was very frustrating that he was making errors at the last hurdle. I think it was at Nace a couple of times.
Yeah,
but I've gone cold on him.
Fair enough. I'm gonna keep him on side here. I think he'll run a big race, but no, I couldn't put you off your two at the top in Canto Bruno and Nursery. Like it's a drop in class for both of them, and Nursery very interesting as well, obviously given from where he's coming from in the season he had last year. Moving on then, Dec. This is one of the biggest handicaps of the whole week, the Paddy Power Chase, 3 miles. One of my favourite races actually on the whole calendar, never mind during the week. I always loved the Paddy Power Chase. It was a race that always struck me as a young kid. I used to always go racing from when I was in the buggy. And I was used to always have my little €1 or €2 reverse forecast, and I was always on the Paddy Power Chase. I loved it, and had a couple winners as well back in the day as well. Really, really great race. Very, very tough though. Goes without saying. We're going to have a full field here. Only the one reserve, Flash de Touzane, is the only reserve in the race. On previous podcast Dec, I've mentioned Adamantly Chosen, who's in here off 148. Has a relatively similar profile as a previous Willie Mullins winner of the race, Castlebawn West. I just think him stepping up to 3 miles at a track he clearly goes well at. Second in Grade 1 company to Mighty Potter last year at the Dublin Racing Festival. I just think this is going to be his target, and I think he's going to take a hell of a lot of beating. But who do you fancy here?
I really like Ida's Boy. He is top weight, but there's £5 coming off. I think he's a really, really good jumper. He chased home El Barra, who's running today at Ascot, in a grade 3 at Cork last year, and then he was pulled up the next day. He's had some time off, but I think he's a really, really good jumper, and I thought he's obviously won the last day at Punchestown, and he should be able to cope with the rise. For an older horse, he's not very exposed.
No.
I think he's really, really nice, and obviously, am I right still in?
He should be. He was nearly favourite. He was getting backed again. First time tongue tie. Rachel Blackmore going to ride. Yeah, 11 stone 1 as well. Nice racing way.
Yeah, look, you know my thoughts on am I right. Another horse I thought was a really, really good jumper. Another horse has cost me a good few bob, but it was Luke told us that the saddle slipped at Cheltenham the last day, so you're happy to put a line through that. He's going to get his ground. Yeah, I think he's another one with a big chance to hit the 2 of those for me.
Yeah, it's I think this is one of the best Paddy Power chases I can remember personally, just in terms of unexposed horses. I think this is going to be form. You can follow this form confidently into the Tiestes, into your Irish Nationals. Look, even horses coming back in trip for the 2 Mile 5 handicap chase, the Dublin Racing Festival. Panda Boy came back. I think Ain't That a Shame might have ran it as well. And then it was a Birchdale, I think, ran in this, didn't quite get home, and then won at the Dublin Racing Festival. So it is a race you can really follow very, very closely. But like when you go through some of the horses, like some of these second season chasers, I know you mentioned Ida's Boy, Adamantly Chosen, James de Burley, even Desert Moor House, like in the number 6 Valverde colours, brilliant winner of the Kerry National at Listow last time out. He could be a big improver. Your Hollow Games, Panda Boy, On Baton, Am I Right? It gets a really, really... This is the most competitive Paddy Power chase I can remember personally. I think it's going to be a race that you're going to have to really follow very, very closely. The winner is going to have quite a few pounds in hand, you would have thought. We'll move on, Dec, then. We'll go across to Limerick for the Grant Thornton Ladies Handicap Hurdle. I know this was a race that you didn't really have a massive opinion on, am I correct?
I did like She's Online. She's never been better than midfield in her life, and she's up in trip here, but she's not in the race now. She wasn't declared, so I didn't really fancy anything else in it. So
yeah, no, it's fair enough. I was just happy to see Farmix back, which is great to see. Young Dev as well. I think he's won at Christmas in the past, or he's won at Limerick. He's won at Limerick over Christmas, or at least. Yeah, and he's gone close. Horse that's very often targeted at this meeting. So the only problem is he hasn't ran in nearly a year. But they could 347 days. So it's whether he's going to be ready for this test is another question. Phillip was obviously talking about Cato's Revenge. Maybe we look at him, how he goes, and we maybe look at him for next time out. But it's not really a race. I think this is a race that we can probably we won't force it. The Owen McCarthy horse, Dec, Cosmic Rock, that wasn't the one you wanted to, wasn't one that came on your radar, no?
No. It was no, for a lot of these races before declarations, I had a couple of fancies in them, but this one I only had one and she didn't get in, so I'm not going to force it.
No, neither will I, to be honest with you. I think we'll have to concede on that one. But onto the Roach's Feeds Handicap Hurdle. That's a question we could have asked Phillip. Does he use Roach's Feeds? We always like to give all the sponsors a shout out on this show. It's an 80 to 102 Dec, 2 miles. Again, very, very competitive. Goes without saying. A lot of runners, 18. We have a Robert Tyner horse in here on handicap debut, a great buzz. We'll go without saying that you'd have to watch the market very closely for her. Very well bred as well. She's by Galileo and is actually a half sister to Better Times Ahead. Also who trained by Robert Tyner. So is there anything that you came down on here, Dec?
Yeah, I really, really like New Barn Lane. He bumped into Petit Dijonnaire here the last day. He's got £2 for that, but I think he's going to be hard to stop.
Think he could reverse the form? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Absolutely. No, I think he could. I think he could be difficult to beat. I'd also like Phillip's Johnny Cakes. He's dropping back to 2 miles from 3 miles. Be interesting if he does run, but I'd be keen enough on New Barn Lane.
Very good. My runner here wasn't declared, so I'd have to unfortunately concede this one as well. But New Barn Lane, And sounds like you're confident, Dec, and happy enough I'll follow you in there. We'll move on then to the 28th. And this is where, it starts to get a little bit more difficult. We'll be working without declarations here, but that won't stop us. The 2.5 mile Irish Daily Star handicap hurdle. It's an 80 to 116 bracket. Again, usually it's going to be as competitive as it gets here. Dec, who do you like here?
There's 3 I like. All About Lucy. She was 16 lengths behind. She could be anything in a listed race. She's won a Cork Maiden. This is her handicap debut. Again, a horse probably with a bit of class. So I'm not overly concerned about. Like I know a lot of times I like them to have a run in a handicap before fancying them, but I wouldn't be overly worried. And then Power Hour. It's another one making handicap debut. Ran well in maidens, behind Far and Glory the last time. Like it's decent form. But it was one I was kind of struggling to find one that I'm normally looking for. That it wasn't really one that ticks a lot of the boxes. So yeah, I like those two. And then Must Go Now is 14 in the ballot. Probably not going to run here.
And what about your old friend West Away? But do you think the handicappers mullered him a bit too much, or think he could be?
I'd say he'll definitely be competitive, but I think it's going to be. Look, it's going to be difficult, isn't it? Like they absolutely bolted up the last day. But what did he get? £12 or something, was it?
Yeah, and the rest, I think. I'll double check what he got now, but no, he was hit pretty hard. He was given £11, so beating Goldhaven. It was pretty justified. You would have thought, but by the manner in which he won.
Sorry, Andy. Just on Must Go Now, wherever Must Go Now runs, I'll be back. Yeah, and we spoke about that the other night. Like you obviously, Attaboy Charlie is running. Then he's declared for the race on the 26th. Must Go Now isn't. So he's a couple of entries, and wherever he goes, I'll be backing him.
Yeah, 14 on the ballot, so he probably good, as you said there. Good chance that he does get the run. Well, actually, a good chance, maybe not. I don't know. It depends. A lot of these are double and triple entered, so you wouldn't be surprised.
Like business, because they can get in their way down the ballot, because of there's so many double and triple entries. But look, wherever he goes, I'll be backing him.
Yeah. Well, the one I wanted to highlight, Dec, I thought it was quite an eye catcher actually. The last day at Punchestown, I think he just got tired. It was a horse called Hollow Sound of Luke Comer's. He was in a race that we covered quite extensively on one of our top podcasts at Punchestown. The race was won by Petit King of Ed Coley. Dancing Jeremy, a horse I have a lot of time for, was third. Laser Wolf was fourth. Plenty of horses that we've spoken about ad nauseum on this show in previous times. But I thought the run of Hollow Sound was really, really eye-catching. He just ran like a horse that needed to run. He brought them along. He was behind Dancing Jeremy most of the way, right up in the van. And like he nearly led them. He basically led them to the last. One of those runs where him and Dancing Jeremy going at it, he brought them to halfway between the second last and the last. Just got a little bit tired. Finished 7th. Handicapper hasn't relented, but he's a smart horse on his day. And if they do go here 16 days, the trainer tends to aim them at Leopardstown. It's regularly enough. He's good form in previous, in maiden hurdles, only beaten by Senior Chief at Punchestown back in February. Was probably a little bit unlucky not to win that day. Senior Chief's a horse I have a lot of time for. I think this horse has scope off 116 for sure, especially given the way he ran at Punchestown the last day. He would have to carry 12 stone here, but he carried similar enough, I think, at Punchestown. I wouldn't be surprised if he ran a big race at a nice price here, and he's the one I'd be looking at. So it'll be Hollow Sound for me, and then Dec, your one again, or depending?
Look, I like All About Lucy and Power Hour. But it must go now. Runs.
Yeah, goes without saying. Yeah, very good. Well, on to the Pretemps qualifier at 3 o'clock. Sure, we pretty much know the rules at this stage when it comes to this race. First 4 qualify for the final at Cheltenham, which is run on the Thursday at the festival. This is one of 2 or 3 qualifiers in Ireland, I think.
2, I think.
2. They got rid of one, didn't they? Which is a little bit annoying. We're going to have a full field here almost certainly. There's 29 entries. Some eye-catching enough entries. We've Franciscan Rock, who could possibly going back over hurdles. Ballybomb Belter, who either wins or finishes 8th. Will Do, who was I don't want to say disappointing at Navan the last day, like he was well fancied and beaten 20 odd lengths. Maxim, who is slipping back down to weights, and obviously Absolute Notions, a horse I have a lot of time for. Likely to be topping the weights there since he's came out of the Christmas hurdle 3 mile grade 1. This is likely his target now. Good ground, absolutely essential to him, similar to Encanto Bruno. Who do you like here for the Pretense deck?
I like 9 Graces, Barry Connell's horse. Toward the last day off 124, got a pound and will need to win this off that mark. So I think 9 Graces will be giving it a good go.
Yeah.
You're always trying to find one that needs to win, rather than just coast home and fourth.
Yeah, she's one that caught my eye very, very much as well. Step up to 3 miles, better ground. I think the better ground is what she may need. She has one on soft ground at Ballinroll, but that was a race that you could maybe argue she was entitled to win. When you look back on previous, when you're able to kind of look back on the form, I would have thought now that the better ground, stepping up to 3 miles. She does have a habit of coming off the bridle and just, traveling a little bit in snatches, which she showed at Kilbeggan in May, but I wouldn't hold that against her. You're stepping up to 3 miles. It's going to be, it should be, at least benefit her. Franciscan Rock as well, 3rd in the Daily Star, the Daily Mirror novices hurdle at Punchestown. It's one of them anyway. So he was back over hurdles, struggled a little bit over fences in 2 runs. Didn't seem to be a natural by any means. But his 4th behind Grange Clare West wasn't a bad run in the circumstances. Lucky Max as well. Kind of surprised that they're abandoned. Well, I'm kind of surprised they're abandoned chase, and I thought they'd maybe give him a go, another go in a chase, but no, it looks like they're going to come here. And then obviously Absolute Notions, who a horse to have a lot of time for. But the question with him, Dec, is would they want to be winning this race with him?
Well, that's the thing, and that's the way I'm approaching the race. Is 9 Graces will need to win the race if they want to run at the festival. So yeah, Absolute Notions only needs to qualify. Yeah.
A horse who I think could be very interesting in the betting would be Final Orders, who is a 146 rated chaser. Was seen at the end of August winning at Leopardstown over hurdles in a handicap off 102. He just got the £20 off the handicapper for winning, basically, like it was essentially a hack canter. He only won by about 3 or 4 lengths, but the handicapper gave him £20 up to 122. I doubt Connections couldn't give a rat's because it gives them an opportunity to run the race like this, and the horse clearly thrived over fences last season. Maybe has found his height over fences, but if he's able to translate that progression back to hurdles, which he obviously showed at a much lower level at Leopardstown, but you would have thought maybe 122 Dec, he could have a chance here.
Yeah, he could, but he is a much better chaser.
Yeah,
like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know we're always looking at horses who get a lower chase mark, and you're trying to exploit it, but like, some horses are just much better chasers than hurdlers, and they can be, £20 inferior over hurdles than over fences or more sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Obviously, Prince Palace, another interesting one, 250 won second to Man's Way at Nace. and has finished second on his last start as well in Maiden Hurdle Company. Be interesting to see him on handicap debut of 116. But I'd agree with you, Dec. I think I don't know if I'd be saying nap at the tap with 9 races now. Slane Hill obviously in there too. Could be another possible runner. He ran a nice race at Navan, but the trainer did say that the testing ground at Navan was the reason he was beat. Even though he didn't run that badly, so maybe a return to better ground could see him go close. I'd be tentatively with 9 races too, but it wouldn't be one of my stronger selections, unfortunately. We'll move on then, Dec, to Limerick on the 28th. This is the D-Pack Packaging Handicap Hurdle, an 80 to 102. This is where you're going to come alive now. That hangover is going to kick straight out of your body, and you're going to give us one of the more filthier winners probably over the Christmas period. This is a race I'm very interested in. Whether the horse that I like is going to get a run, I don't think she is, unfortunately. Bridie Whittle, but who do you like here, Dec? This is a race now that you could see a handicap debutant rock up in that's been run around in decent maidens, and go and hack up.
I struggled with this one, and I landed on Bugle Bocht, Ted Walsh's horse. He won easy over this trip off 87 at Tramore. Got 10 pounds for it. He beat that horse we've tipped up a couple of times, Killing Time, I think. I think he could well follow up in this field, but it was kind of landed on him through the process of elimination. But Eamon Cleary, Eamon, and he's been talking about Grace Faraday for weeks. So Eamon shrewd enough, and I'd put my trust in him there. I'd probably back Grace Faraday.
Very good. Interesting as well, Chosen Diamond, who's 8th on the ballot. He could be coming back over hurdles. He does have a chase entry, I think, on New Year's Eve as well. He won on I don't think it was his chasing debut, but he did win a chase at the it was his chasing debut. He won a chase at Naas and then unseated behind Captain's Nephew. He was still going okay at the time, but highly unlikely to have beaten Captain's Nephew last time out. Interesting after coming back to try and exploit his hurdles mark of 92, but he, given his balance of form, he does look like a much better chaser. I'll just talk a little bit, Dec, about Bridie Whittle, who is, as I said, 16 on the ballot here. I would imagine she's not going to get a run. They've given her they gave her a mark of 88. Handicapper left her on that after her handicap debut at Clonmel when she unseated at the second last. She actually jumped it fine. She just stumbled about 2 steps after the hurdle and catapulted Phillip Enright out of the saddle. She was running a nice enough race though, and it is noted that she actually jumped into one down the back straight as well, which kind of halted her momentum. I thought when they step her up and trip, she would have a big chance. I wouldn't be surprised if they were maybe targeting this race, and they might be a little bit upset to see her name so low on the ballot. Look, we just said it at the last race, Dec, 16 on the ballot around Christmas time with double and triple entries. It's not always a deal breaker, but she is far enough down. I don't think she's going to get a run here, but we probably speak about her again in a few minutes because there is a race that she could well get a run in. Again at Limerick as well. So whatever, similar to your lad there, the Eddie Cowley horse, Dec, whatever race Bridie Whittle runs in, I will be backing her. One horse that was targeted at Limerick last year, it is worth noting now, he was well backed and then drifted out, Storm Mahler. I could see him maybe being targeted at this race as well. Emmett McNamara wouldn't be in any way a surprise. But the obvious one, as you said there, Dec, Bugle Bocht, could be very, very progressive. Son of Blue Brazil. Beat Killing Time, up 10 pounds. Ground is of no issue. He does look the obvious one, but he could be a very, very short price in this particular race. But look, if he wins, I suppose.
He'd be my selection, but it was kind of through the process of elimination. But Eamon is very confident on Grace Faraday, so I will follow him in. I'll trust him.
Very good. The main event down in Limerick that isn't the Faheen Novices Chase, be our main event, is the Jim Duggan Memorial.
This could be nap at the top material.
And look, very best of luck to Captain's Nephew. Phillip said he is absolutely nailed on to run here. Captain's Nephew is number 1 on the ballot, but he'd want to be the most unlucky person in the world to not get a run here. I say there's 3 horses on the ballot. I'd say any horse that wants a run will get a run here. It's usually not even close to being a race that fills. Nap at the top material could be here. I'll let you mention it now, Dec, but as we said, very best of luck to Phillip Rothwell, who he sounded previously that he was very excited to run Captain's Nephew here. But no, take it away, Dec, for the Jim Duggan.
Phillip's very keen and sounded really confident, but it's Queen Jane for me. The head second to Bride's Hill the last day, 14 lengths clear the third, got £5 for that, but you take Bride's Hill out of the race and she's getting 12, 13 pounds maybe. So I'd be very, very keen on Queen Jane. I'd imagine you would be too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you actually called it after the race or before.
Yeah, I did. He's taking Henry de Bromhead has taken the exact same route he took to winning this race last year with Mascada. Mascada, actually, I think she might have fallen or unseated though at Fairyhouse in that mare's chase. I'm almost certain she didn't complete anyway. I think you might have backed Mascada that day, Dec. I think you definitely backed her in the Jim Duggan last year. As I remember, beside you at Leopardstown, so as you said there, Dec, she's gotten £5 for head second to Bride's Hill, and that's completely fair enough. As you said, it would have been 8, 9, 10, 11 pounds if Bride's Hill wasn't in the race. Henry de Bromhead won this race with the exact same route as he took with Mascada last year, and to even sweeten the deal a little bit, he won it the previous year with Spyglass Hill, so it's clearly a race Henry de Bromhead targets. I think she's going to win. It's as simple as that. I just think she's going to win. She's clearly very, very progressive. Still only 7. She's 7 rising 8, but not a whole lot of chasing experience. This will only be her 5th chase start. She's won 2 of them. She could have very easily won 3 of them. Bride's Hill was tying up late on, and she was actually also favourite in the race that she fell in, where she was coming to challenge at the last. I'm not 100% sure she would have gotten up, but you'd be a brave person to say she was beat when she fell at the last. A few horses that I am a little bit afraid of would be Gars de Sceaux, potentially a well-treated horse, given his beginner chase exploits, and he ran in all the right races. Obviously a little bit hard to train, but was a big eye catcher behind Mr. Policeman the last day. I'm just not in love with his demeanour. Sometimes I just wonder if he wants to put it all in. Coquelicot as well for JP McManus. Ran a lovely race behind Ida's Boy, big eye catcher as well. And that's race that we've kind of taken a little bit out of. Like, I fancy Adamantly Chosen for the Paddy Power. Dec fancies Ida's Boy. Coquelicot was 3rd in that race, so he would be a danger as well. But for me, I'm going to trust that Henry de Bromhead has taken trainers or creature of habit, and I think Queen Jane is the standout for me. It could be, again, one of the most competitive Jim Duggans we've seen in quite a while, but no, it is Queen Jane for me. And Dec, that probably is the nap at the top, is it?
I'd say so, yeah. I'd say we're both quite confident on Queen Jane.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, Limerick actually have 3 handicaps on the 28th, so we will move on to that. It's the Mason Standing at Springfield House Stud, Knock, Ruscree, County Tipperary, handicap hurdle, 4-year-old plus, 3 miles in very, very testing ground. This could be an absolute slog, and we have a big entry list as well. 28 runners. Dec, who do you like?
Well, Power Hour is he's in here again, who I've mentioned already, but Chiefs Kingdom, it's his handicap debut, but plenty of experience. He was 6th to Champagne Admiral here the last day, and 2nd to Crow Park before that. Look, he's
right up in trip as well, from 2 to 3.
Yeah, so Yeah, Chiefs Kingdom, and he's home again. Showed improvement on his second handicap over 3 miles the last day. He's another one I think will go close. I'd have it between them. I wouldn't like to see Power Hour running there because while I think he'd have a chance in the other race, it'd be between Chiefs Kingdom and he's home again.
Right. I think the Emmett McNamara horse is the one I'd take care. Mont St. Vincent. Very, very consistent at the minute. Emmett McNamara is a man who I think would he's one that I think would love a winner at Limerick around this time. He usually does get one. He's been running really consistently since he joined the yard from Neil Mulholland. Form figures in the yard read 2nd, 5th, pulled up. Okay, fair enough, but it was a chase. The horse just looks like a better hurdler. And then 5th and 2nd again. And he was a bit unlucky behind Positive Tinker. When you go back and look at that race, he made his challenge between the third last and last. The second last was omitted, and he was jumping well. And I think that omitted second last could well have cost him the last day. So I'm going to go with him and hope that Emmett McNamara does have a winner. Dec, just your selection there again?
It was Chiefs Kingdom, and he's home again.
Yeah, Chiefs Kingdom. Yeah, Chiefs Kingdom. It could be a big eye catcher, as you said, from 2 miles to 3 miles. It's a usually when they step up that markedly in trip. Yeah, and Paul Nolan he's another one, but he's known to pop the money down at Limerick as well. So very interesting. Moving quickly on then, Dec, to the 29th. A race that I seem to talk about every other week, the Adair Manor Opportunity Handicap Chase. It's a 0 to 1, 2, 3 for the claimers. Usually a race that can throw up very progressive horses, as Phillip alluded to at the top of the show. Seddon won this last year before winning the plate, which is just absolutely wild. But yeah, that is what happened. Unsurprising to see a huge list. Given the way Phillip talked about his horse deck, Galon de Vozelle, I'd be nearly inclined to take a chance. I'd like to go back and watch that race at Cheltenham, but as we said, Phillip did win this race with Savannah Star in the past. But who do you like here?
Yeah, with Galon de Vozelle has cost me a few balls. I backed him a good bit. I was waiting on him to go chasing, and he's just as Phillip said, life's getting more and more difficult for him because he's going up and up without winning, and you don't. It's unfortunate, but obviously great horses to own, but it's becoming more and more difficult. I like Carrick Rock of 114. It's 8 lengths fourth of 116 over hurdles. A year ago, it's his handicap chase debut. And the other one is Midnight Air Fred of 114. Won a maiden hurdle, the second at Cheltenham the last day, 116. I was struggling with this one. I'd have it between them.
Very good. Yeah, the one I kind of was interested in. It's actually a mare that's only had 4 chase starts. But I just feel like the handicapper would have really struggled to get a grasp of this mare, and she jumps well, and just some things I do like when they jump well and they're below their hurdles mark. And it's a trainer that I've been keeping a close eye on as well, James Andrew Fahey, who I did say trains a horse that I have had a lot of time for this year, Dancing Jeremy. It's in the same colours. The mare's called Hazel Hatch Lady. And I just think this mare would have been very, very difficult to assess. She won 2 races in the summer over hurdles at Roscommon and Sligo. Sprung a surprise at Roscommon, then followed up at Sligo to kind of show you it was no fluke. She tried to make all in a beginners then at Ballinrobe in September, and she was just worried out of it late on. I don't think she quite got home. Over the 3 miles was her first attempt at the trip under rules, and I just think that maybe it was a little bit too much for her. But she was behind some good mares, Presenting Diane and Paddy's Passion, who had a decent Dell season. Like, she racked up a couple of wins last season. I think she actually followed up after winning this race at Ballinrobe. She then goes, after her chase, she goes behind Hercule Desai, beating 98 lengths. Okay, fair enough. It's a grade 3. Beaten 37 lengths then again by Hercule Desai in a grade 3. And then she was 150 to 1 shot, pulled up behind Allegory Devassi and Instit. But they tried going with those horses. That's what I didn't get. She wasn't out the back and just falling out the back of the telly. Yeah. She was prominent in those races. And now they're stepping down out of graded company and going into a handicap chase of 111 at a track that can often favour prominent runners. She's just so unexposed, and this is by a million miles her easiest opportunity she's had since she's won over hurdles, which, as I said, was only last summer. She's going to get her good ground. She's 5 pounds less than what she is over hurdles. I think she's a phenomenal chance, Hazel Hatch Lady, so she's going to be my selection. I wouldn't worry about her recent form, as the grade that she was running in is astronomically bigger than what she's going to be facing here. They might try and bounce her out and make all the running, so I'd be quite sweet on Hazel Hatch Lady to go close in this race. And then what was your selection?
Carrick Rock and Midnight Air Fred, but I haven't listened to you talk about Hazel Hatch Lady. I'm going to follow you.
Very good. That's the way we do it. Moving on then, Dec, as I just try and find the next race at Leopardstown. So the first race and then the second last race, the Timeless Sash Windows Irish EBF Novices Handicap Hurdle. So this is a race that we were speaking about on the last tap. It's often a race that can be won by a horse, the 2 mile version by a horse in the 26th, and sometimes they can rock up here under a penalty on the 29th. We'll see if it's possible. The eye-catching entry, though, would be Waterford Whispers, probably off 123. What do you think here, Dec?
Yeah, tricky one. Sequestered is in here as well. Yates Star, who won the last day, but Banjax out the back on his handicap debut, but caught wide the last day, dropped the pound for that, was beaten 17 lengths, but he'll put a line through it. And Champagne Admiral is a horse I really like, and we've mentioned him. We've used him for form lines a good bit. He's a maiden winner. He was second to October the time before that. He's good maiden form in general, and it's his handicap debut up in Trip. So yeah, I think it's a difficult race, though. I think it's a tricky one, but I'd have a dream. And obviously Must Go Now.
So let's say we better. I actually, if I was a betting man, which I am, I think this is the race you're going to see Must Go Now running.
Probably.
I think.
And you what?
I think this is the race he's going to run in. Out of all his entries, I think this is the one he's going to go in.
Yeah, what is he, number 28?
He gets a run, 28 or 28. He will get a run.
Yeah, look, wherever he runs, I'm going to back him.
Very good. I'm going to, it Must Go Now. If you're that keen on him, I will follow you in. I couldn't look very far past Waterford Whispers. I think 123 just could very much underestimate him. I'm mad on, as you said, Attaboy Charlie, who is declared for the 26th. Be him. He's off 111. He's beaten Answer to Cafe, who I know you clearly like as well. Probably outstayed him. I think Answer to Cafe, he was a little bit keen. That was a decent enough race. I just think 1, 2, 3 could underestimate him. The only question you would really have of him, and I wouldn't hang it over him, potential of encountering quicker ground for the first time in his life, but I'd be surprised if he didn't handle it. So it would be Waterford Whispers for me. And then Must Go Now, Dec, or as you said there, the potential.
Yeah, look, it's Must Go Now wherever he runs, but if he doesn't, I'd have it between Banjax and Champagne Admiral.
Very good. Moving on, we're nearly at the home straight now, Dec. We're starting to get reminders. So we're moving on to a very rare veterans handicap chase in Ireland. We don't get many of them, but we do have one here, 12:20 on the 29th. There's only 6 runners, so that's probably why we don't get them. They're not very popular. Expatriate, the Dabbler, 5 After Midnight, Space Cadet, who's still, God love him, he's still going around. He's nearly 14 now. Revelin Pleasure and Avik Gaspar. Any fancy here?
No.
No worries.
I just no. The
No,
race
you're
isn't
not.
interesting at all.
No worries. I would like to see Space Cadet, not Space Cadet, sorry, Expatriate. This is a big drop in class. Handicappers giving him a chance. Thought he went okay at Fairyhouse. He tried to make headway after a bad mistake. But my only worry is I probably want to see him on slightly better ground. Like, he's going to have absolutely horrendous conditions after 3 days of racing. And I think this is the first race on the fourth day. So,
Well, they
yeah,
probably fresh ground every day.
yeah, they could do. They could do.
Like Limerick's good and wide. Like it's
Mm.
you know there's plenty of ground there, so they'll probably have. They'll probably be running on ground that hasn't been ran on since that day last year.
Yeah, no, you're probably right.
Limerick.
You're probably right. Look, even 5 after midnight for Phillip. She probably wants slightly better ground. Space Cadet doesn't look like the horse he used to be. Revel and Pleasure, like, he's probably going to be favourite. But does he want 3 miles is the kind of question you'd have over him. He's never really struck me as well. I suppose it's 2 miles 6, isn't it? But you may as well nearly kind of 3 miles in conditions that he's going to be encountering. And then there's Avec Gaspar. You could argue he's the form horse. I know he's beaten 24 lengths the last day, but he was in consistent form before that. But again, another one that just might want decent ground. It's really difficult. I'd be taking Expatriate by process of elimination at the handicappers, just dropped him enough and just hope that he can handle the more testing ground, but it'll be a very, very tentative selection. That's even if he runs there. Moving on then, Dec, we won't spend much time with the veterans. We'll move on to the Limerick Racecourse Vets Novice Handicap Chase again, that 2 miles 6, and not 109. This is difficult. 19 entries as we record right now. Who do you like here?
I like 3, and I'd hope only one of them run.
Okay.
I do like the 3 of them. Dr. Val off 99. It won off a hurdles off 98 in February, and this is his chase debut. So you'd like to think that he has something in hand going over fences. Nazine off 96. He was a length third off 107 in May over hurdles. So he's £11 lower here. He probably wasn't off on his chase debut. And then Lady Kate off 93. She was second on her handicap debut to Farthest East last week. That was off 90, got £3 for it, but 5 lengths cleared at the third. Only had 1 hurdle run. I'd be hoping only one of them runs, and I'd be confident of whichever one it is.
Very good. Yeah, I've no opinion on this race, sadly, but yeah, well, let's hope only one of them runs then, Dec, and you find us a nice winner. If would you be able to put them in order 3, 2, 1, and just in case, or would you?
I don't know, but closer to the day I might if I have to. But I could see any of the 3 winning, and I'd struggle to select one from the 3. So I'd be hoping, even like if 2 of them run, I'd be happy and I'd dodge me bets.
Very good.
But I wouldn't be doing that on 3. So I'm hoping at least one doesn't run.
At least one doesn't run.
And if only one runs, happy days.
Fantastic. Well, let's hope only one runs. As we move on to the last race that we're going to cover here, which is the Quinbet Handicap Hurdle. I believe, as I just
2 more, do we?
Do we 2 more? Sorry, do we?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. The Quinbet Handicap Hurdle, that's a listed race, sorry. Bear with me now, Dec.
No, we've the Quinbet Handicap Hurdle, the 130, and then the 342.
The 130. I think the 130 is actually... Sorry, yeah, the Quinbet Handicap Hurdle. Sorry, Dec. Yeah, you're dead right. The Quinbet Handicap Hurdle. What confused me was there's 2 races called the Quinbet Handicap Hurdle.
Yeah.
Which is actually after catching me out there. Apologies. So yeah, 130 for this is for 3 and 4-year-olds. I don't think I've ever seen a 3-year-old running a handicap in my life over hurdles, but there you go. That's the conditions of the race. So we've got 14 going to post here. As of right now, obviously we won't have 14 going to post, but the one that stuck out like a sore thumb for me, Dec, was Media Naranja. 4-year-old filly. And
I think she's almost ready to hit the frame, and I
Mm.
think it'll be in February at Leopardstown.
Right. Okay.
I
And
think
in
she'll win
the Paddy
American
Mullins.
Yeah, in the Paddy Mullins. I think she'll win that. Look, I just don't think it'll be the 29th. I think she'll win at Leopardstown.
Okay.
Like,
Well,
she's
the
getting there.
results.
Sorry?
No, yeah, go on. Yeah, she's getting there.
Yeah, she's getting there. Like, she's almost ready to hit the frame, and if that's the plan, you'd have her cherry ripe for February, wouldn't you? Like,
yeah. And there's also Rockview Consort who went into our tracker here, but I think I'd want to see her on better ground, and maybe a little bit later on in the year. It's a quick enough turnaround from her good run at Thurles. But no, I'm going to stick with Median Naranja. I think this is going to be her target. I don't see an issue with the ground. I think she's ran really, really well in her 2 runs this season, beaten 13 lengths by Irish Point, albeit getting a sack away. And I thought she ran quite well. She weakened quite late at Ferryhouse. That race changed complexion quite a bit. But I thought she ran a blinder, and now she's in against 4-year-olds, or back in against 4-year-olds for the first time in a while. And I think she's progressing nicely. She's my selection here. Who's yours?
Yeah, I probably will back her, because she'll probably still win at Leopardstown if she wins this.
Yeah, well, that could well be the case. So you're going to stick with her. You're nothing else.
No. Like, I do like her. I'll have to back her in case it is. I've been thinking for a while, since early on in the season, that it would be, she could be the horse for that Paddy Mullins at Leopardstown.
Right. I think Elliot could absolutely carpet bomb that field. That Paddy Mullins, he has a lot of decent
He's
mares.
won it a few times, hasn't he?
He has, yeah, he's won it a good few times actually. 342 at Limerick is going to be our next race down Dec. I'll just pop it up here real quick. Sorry about this now. 342 Limerick. And this is going to be our final race. We've nearly covered every single handicap on the card now. The Quinbet handicap hurdle, 80 to 102. It's 2 mile, 3 furlongs. This could be the more suitable race for Bridie Whittle. She's number 9 on the ballot here. So she has a far better chance of getting into this race than she does the race that we just covered, the 2 mile 5 race. Have you a fancy in this?
There's 5 I'd give a chance to. But
Jesus.
But we 50 entries, and I'd be hoping for a runner.
Yeah, no, it is difficult though, because this race and the race we just covered, the 2 mile 5 one, like, that's why I was saying Bridie Whittle, who has 16 on the ballot. She's 16 on the ballot because they're all bleeding in this as well. So like, they can only probably run on one of them. So anyway,
look, she's online. Is in here. The horse I mentioned earlier that came out of the race on the 27th. So I'd have to fancy her here. Dark Image, Owen McCarty, 20 lengths behind, mispronunciation on the handicap debut. Sure to improve. Credit Control, never been off. This is their second handicap, so this is what we're looking for. The Flying Donkey was 7 lengths forward to Bugglebot at Tremor. That was his first handicap run, so again you're expecting improvement. And On the Banks has never been better than midfield in his life. Like, again, you're hoping one of them runs.
Okay, and
I can see reasons for any of those 5 winning, and I'm just hoping they all don't run.
Yeah, credit Control is the one that kind of does sit out. Like, she made late enough headway, not noticeable headway, but we notice it, but late enough headway. And yeah, you've got the old stepping up 3 furlongs and trip. Like, that is telling. She'd be the one I'd probably go with. As I said, I'd happily follow Eddie Cowley off a cliff at this stage right now. He's having a fantastic season. He really is. And that's if Bridie Whittle doesn't get in, because I will be backing her. And this is the race I think she's most likely to run in if she does get a run. I think 16, there is a chance she gets in, but she obviously has a better chance of getting into this. So it'll be Bridie Whittle if she does get in. Please God she does. If not, I will back Credit Control myself.
Yeah, well, if I'm to select one from the 5, if they all turn up, the fact you like Credit Control as well, but probably sway me to. But I can see reasons why 5 of them, any of those 5 could run. And I'm only giving 5 because we've 50 entries and we're so far out, like, you know.
Yeah.
And you don't expect them all to run, so hoping for a runner.
Well, I don't want to put you under pressure, Dec. I'm not going to ask you for a best bet, but like our number 1 bet agreed is in the Tim Duggan, and it's going to be Queen Jane.
Yeah.
So Queen Jane is the nap of the tap. Out of the others that we spoke about, I will give my Trixie. If anybody wants to do it. So also making the cut for the Trixie is Hazel Hatch Lady in the Adair Manor first race, basically, at Leopardstown. So Hazel Hatch Lady. If I was allowed to use the other tap podcast, it would obviously be Attaboy Charlie in the novices handicap hurdle. However, if we're only going on this podcast, it would be Bridie Whittle if she ran.
Well, do a Yankee then.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll put in Attaboy Charlie. I suppose it has to be Bridie Whittle, but if she gets balloted out, you can replace her with Credit Control. That would be my Yankee. I'm excited for that now. Dec, would you have a Trixie or a Yankee yourself? Again, don't want to put yourself under any pressure here, but obviously you like Queen Jane.
Yeah, Queen Jane, New Barn Lane. Must go now wherever he runs.
Yeah,
and then
you can only have it if you want. Whatever, if you want a Trixie, that's fine.
I'm just trying to think back to the other night. What we were.
You had the nowhere or when up and down Royal. If you see,
I don't get it. I don't
get it. Sorry, not nowhere or when. I don't get it.
So I'll throw him into it, and I hope. Will I check the tissues on him?
Well, last minute there. Go on.
Yeah, 1 second. Because this is
Tom Harney. You can ask Tom Harney. Tom Harney's riding, taking off 7.
Tom get the ride.
Yeah, Tom get the ride. Not up and down Royal.
What time is it?
It's the 1:58 at Down Royal.
1:58 Down Royal. I don't get it. 25's the rag of the field.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So
probably
open 66s.
Damn. Easy money. All right. That's fantastic. I don't get it. Well, yeah, you don't get his price. That's it. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, when will that be priced up? It'll have to be sharp.
That'll be tomorrow, will it?
Will it be tomorrow?
It could be tonight. It could be tonight.
I'll have to keep an eye on that.
Prices. Yeah, no, absolutely. Me too. Well, that brings us to an end of our Christmas helping of Take a Pull. And we would probably be back to cover the racing at the turn of the year, will we? For Fairy House, Punchestown, etc.
We might be able to do one and cover Punchestown and Fairy House.
Yeah, maybe even Tremor. Yeah, sure. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, very much enjoyed that, Dec. And again, big thank you to Phillip Rothwell for giving up his time and having a chat with us as well. It was brilliant to hear his stories about the cross country, Native Jack, and his suit covered in pink champagne, etc. So that was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that. So thank you again to Phillip, and thank you as well, Dec. I know you've battled through last night, so I do appreciate that too.
I'll go rest now.
Well, until next time, guys, that was Take a Pull. All the best, happy punting, and have a fun, happy Christmas. Bye bye.
Happy Christmas. Oh.